www.drhecm.com, drhecm.com. And we've already gone over everything that's on there. And one thing I did want to show you is, we've had a really great guest in Phil Walker, who talks to us quite a bit about, financial planning and that kind of thing when and as we grow older and getting things ready for that. So he also talked about playing the saxophone, and I got one of his CDs, and I just want to show it to you here. It's really nice. It's got a band of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 people plus him, and there he is. I think there's another maybe lighter. Well, not of him, but of there is a saxophone anyway. But go to philwalkerjazz.com to get yours or to do some listening. philwalkerjazz.com. Okay, with that, I believe it's time for NASA Nellie, the International Space Station. Oh, there's her retro rocket. So here we go. Let's let NASA Nellie take over, please.
Here's an update on the Webb Space Telescope. The Webb Telescope has now reached its destination this week and is in its parking spot at L2 orbit. It is 907,530 miles from Earth. Its hot side remains 130 degrees and its cold side is minus 348 degrees. That's cold. It will remain in that parking spot until it runs out of fuel in about 20 years. Telescope deployment is complete and is now testing and calibrating mirror alignments and is almost ready to phone home with pictures of the universe. The Webb will not be in orbit around the Earth like Hubble. It will orbit the Sun. The forces of gravity of the Earth, the Moon, and even planets as far as Jupiter will tug on the Webb and keep it in line if it wanders. What makes this orbit special is that the telescope stays in line with the Earth as it moves around the Sun. This allows its large sun shield to protect the scope from light and heat of the Sun. Because it will be observing the faint infrared signals of very distant objects, it needs to be shielded from any bright, hot sources. Over the years, its mirror components have traveled miles across the U.S. to 11 facilities before into space. The material for the mirrors, called beryllium, a strong but lightweight earth metal, began its adventure first in Ohio, where it was purified, then to Alabama, where it was chiseled into honeycomb shapes, then to California to be polished. The mirrors were assembled and tested at a NASA facility in Maryland before being driven to Texas for even more testing, then fitted with its tennis court-size sun shield. Then once assembled, it traveled for 16 days on ship through the Panama Canal to its last stop at French Guiana. The ship had a military escort and travel dates kept secret. Just think, the Webb is so powerful, 100 times more powerful than Hubble, it can detect the heat of a bumblebee as far away as the moon, and is now almost ready to scan the cosmos and uncover the wonders of the universe.
All right. Now, I didn't show any pictures because we've shown so many of them lately. Yeah. But we have another report from NASA Nellie.
Tell it like it is.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. NASA, tell it like it is. Nellie.
Okay, we're going to revisit the mysterious Dyatlov Pass incident.
Dyatlov.
The following is one of the most unusual mysteries of all time. And let it be known, Expedition X's Josh Gates has absolutely nothing to do with this investigation of this case.
Even though he took credit for
that wasn't done already, way before he appeared on the scene. That credit goes to American explorer Mike Lebecki. On February 1st and 2nd of 1959, 9 Russian hikers died in the northern Ural Mountains in uncertain circumstances. The experienced group were all of the Ural Polytechnical Institute. During the first night, something caused them to cut their way out of their tents and flee the campsite while inadequately dressed for the heavy snowfall and sub-zero temperatures. This occurred on a mountain, in English is called Dead Mountain. Apart from the fact that they froze to death, no one knows why they ran to their death and seemed to encounter a natural force that were unable to overcome. Each member of the group were accessible hikers and ski tour experience and were to receive the highest certification available in the Soviet Union on their return from the 190-mile hike. The route was designed by the group and approved by the Sverdlovsk City Route Commission. The group of 10 arrived by train at Idville in the early hours of January 25th. They took a truck to a small village and spent the night, purchased and ate loaves of bread as recorded in their journals. The next day, they began their trip. One member suffered health ailments and turned back as he was unable to walk, leaving the team at 9 members. Diaries and cameras were found around their last campsite and showed they lost their direction because of snowstorms and decreasing visibility and decided to set up camp on the side of a mountain rather than a forested area. They had planned to telegram their club as soon as they arrived to their destination, but when there was no word for several days after the estimated time of arrival, relatives demanded a rescue operation of students and teachers. Then the army and militia followed with planes and helicopters. The searchers found the group's badly damaged tent half torn down with cuts open from the inside, and the hikers' belongings and shoes were left behind. In time, their bodies were found, some many feet from each other with odd, severe injuries, some comparable to a car crash, suggesting they scattered in a panic to save themselves from a calamity of some sort. There was speculation that the indigenous Mansi people, reindeer herders, attacked and murdered the hikers. This proved to be untrue. The nature of the fatal injuries would not have been caused by humans, and not even consistent with animal attacks either, as there were no signs of tracks. To make it more puzzling, some levels of radiation were found on the clothing of the hikers. It was reported that eyewitnesses in the northern Urals saw fast-moving balls of fire in the night sky around the time of the incident. In time, the files of the investigation were sent to a secret archive. Negatives from the hikers' cameras, along with diaries and journals, were released as late as 2009. In 2014, a Discovery Channel documentary on the case, explorer Mike Lebecki reinvestigates the mystery in great detail, and here are the possibilities on the hikers' demise. A possible conclusion was an avalanche or hurricane, but the location did not have the signs of certain debris patterns of an avalanche. It was reported that there were no such conditions at the time of year, and the experienced hikers would definitely know not to camp in the path of a possible avalanche. Another idea was infrasound wind created a vortex that can create panic. And yet another conclusion was military tests, possible explosions scaring the group. To add to the confusion, another group of hikers south of the incident reported strange orange spheres in the sky, like fast-moving balls of fire that same night. The negatives from the cameras of the hikers revealed a mysterious clue, an odd figure on one of the last frames shot. It showed standing near a tree, a huge creature resembling a Yeti, alias Bigfoot. It has long been rumored that Yeti-like beasts inhabit those mountains. And the last few words in a diary translated, "Now we know the snowman is real."
Thank you, Nassanelli. I've always been fascinated by that story. And although Josh Gates is entertaining, and I'm not saying it's his ego, he probably gets scripts written for him what the sponsors want him to say. But yeah, there's been a lot of work done not only by Mike Lebecki, but some people, some English people, not to mention those in Russia who have a whole institute set aside for that. And I'm sure they've been studying this situation for a very long time. And apparently when some of the, and correct me if I'm wrong, NASA, but I believe when the first civilian searchers went there, they actually found some military equipment that was brand new that would have come from the military being on the scene after the event, whatever that event was, even before anybody else was. Does that mean that the military did that to them? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I know that Russia was messing with or testing two-stage rockets, which was kind of a new thing at the time, and it could be that those flashes in the sky and those two-stage rockets and the lights and all that stuff could have scared the Bigfoot or the Yeti, and the Yeti in turn went after those ugly humans that were there in their space. So the indigenous people, the Mansi, I know, have been completely exonerated from anything having to do with that. But the mystery keeps going, and I like mysteries. So thank you, NASA Nellie. You're ready to take off towards your. There she goes. So she'll be back one of these days, I'm sure. So who's famous? You know, we get into famous people's birthdays. Hold on while I get this famous person some coffee. Who was born on this day? Well, it was Oprah Winfrey. Actually, it was the 29th. So, and we don't want to miss people just by a day or two. What's the big deal? Oh, I got to see that picture like right now. That's cool.
It is. That's it.
Oprah, as she looks today. No, I guess not. There she is. I'm not sure if I recognize her. I guess I could look long enough and look at her other pictures. We'll come back to this picture when we get an older one also to look at. Oprah Gail Winfrey is an American talk show host, producer, actress, author, and philanthropist. Winfrey was born into poverty in rural something.
Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't say, but whatever. She was born in a rural area in poverty to a single teenage mother. Excuse me. Was later sent to live with her father, a barber in Nashville, Tennessee. So at least whoever the father was kept in contact. She landed a job in radio while still in high school, and by 19, she was co-anchor for the local TV news to her own daytime talk show. Wow. And eventually launched her own production company. So becoming a millionaire at the age of 32. Winfrey is now a media mogul, not only starring in her own television show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, from 1986 to 2011. She has produced many films, television shows, movies, specials, as well as written several books, numerous publications and articles, and of course been, a role model for so many younger people. And Oprah has donated millions to educational causes and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Obama. And let's look at some of these other. There's another picture, a little older than the first one, that says Miss Something. I'm not sure what, but there she is, a Miss Something. I don't think she missed much, but there's Miss Something.
She won an award or something.
Yeah, well. And this one, where she actually does look a lot like that really young picture, but still not as much as I think of her when I try to imagine what she does look like, which would be more like this. And this is probably still a few years ago, but I remember didn't she live in the Four Seasons or some hotel we stayed in long ago? She was in the upper floors, though. We were peons. But I mean, like so many places in New York and in Chicago, a lot of the high rises are, the high half of the place are condominiums, and the lower half is a hotel. Anyway, there she be. Tom Selleck, who we talked about probably last year, was born in 1945, which makes him even older than me. See, I told you we talk about reverse mortgages. He is the spokesman for AAG, American Advisors Group, a company I still work with time to time, and is a good company, so we never put down any other companies. I think I'm better, but then again, that's my opinion. So anyway, but Selleck, and he's also, I like to see him limp. I don't know why. I mean, he's a nice guy. I don't mean anything against him. But, in those commercials, he does do a little limping, so that's okay. So Selleck is is that Selleck there? Is an American actor and film producer, and his breakout role was playing a private investigator in the television series Magnum PI, which ran from 1980 to 1988. Tom Selleck has starred in over 34 films and many television shows, appearing over the years. And Selleck was born, just like I was, in Detroit, Michigan. And within a year of each other, maybe he went to Bagley Elementary School like I did. Who knows? We'll have to call him up and ask him. Put that on the calendar, will you? Okay. And then his mother, a housewife, and father, an executive and real estate investor. The family moved to Sherman Oaks in so did we in 1948. But no, we moved in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In 1953, it would be, to Sherman Oaks. And of course, I went to Sherman Oaks Elementary School. Probably knew him then. I have to find out for that, too. Anyway, after high school graduation, he enrolled at LA Valley College, then USC, where he dropped out in his senior year to study acting at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And I don't think anybody can just walk into the Beverly Hills or some of these playhouses and be accepted. So that's a big deal. He could do that. I don't blame him for doing that. Don't blame him or anybody else for dropping out of school, because usually you can go back to school. You can't necessarily get another invitation like this. His first television appearance was as a college senior, on the Dating Game. Soon after, he appeared in Pepsi-Cola commercials. He worked in commercials from, excuse me, Salem Cigarettes. Kind of looks like the Marlboro Man in a way, but I'm glad he didn't end up like that. To the Liquor Dubonnet, to toothpaste. He had a recurring role in the Rockford Files as a private investigator. Now, do you remember that? Because I know you like Rockford Files a lot. Are these...
It's a bigger picture.
All right. Tom Selleck as a older urchin. Smiley face. Okay. And this is like a high school. Oh, you can still tell it's him. Varsity basketball, varsity and junior varsity baseball. He was a sports mensch. You can tell. But he still kind of looks like him getting there, right? Where's that mustache? So, Selleck's big break came when he was cast in the lead role as Thomas Magnum in Magnum PI, which ran from like we said earlier, 1980 to 1988. He starred in such other television shows as The Streets of San Francisco, Marcus Welby, MD, Friends, and Blue Bloods. Blue Bloods was his show, I think, right? Just to name a few. And just think, Tom Selleck could have been Indiana Jones. He passed on the role of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which of course went to Harrison Ford. But if he did have it, this is what this would look like today. Okay? And I think he wanted the role, but, you know, he had an opportunity in hand with that Magnum PI, and it was the producers of Magnum PI that actually made the decision and would not let him go. Let me take another look at that. Uh-oh. We better get that off stage here.
Jeff Bridges wanted to be.
Yeah. Selleck now. Oh, what's this? It's not on here.
Jeff Bridges also wanted to be in Raiders. So
He wanted to be?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
he was never asked, though.
No, I think he was, and he turned it down. But,
Oh, so he didn't want to be. He turned it down.
well, he turned it down.
There's a difference.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right.
The other person who turned down Raiders was Jeff Bridges. That, I don't know who caused that, but, you know, we certainly made a even bigger star out of our man that was in there, Harrison Ford, who was, Star Wars was already out, and he had already proven himself with these boys. And this, no, I'm talking about Harrison Ford.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, he just made him even a bigger star. Not him, Harrison Ford. Okay. So Selleck, who's that? Oh, really? Excuse me. Selleck now lives in Thousand Oaks, Westlake Village, on a 60-acre avocado ranch formerly owned by Dean Martin. And I believe that he got in some trouble over water at one time.
Yeah.
But, you know, we talked about that last year, and I don't think we need to. I don't think he was a bad guy. There was just he used too much water to drink for his avocados to drink. And, you know, avocados do drink a lot, and we drink a lot of them too. So let's just get a little started. Actually, we only have a couple of minutes. Did you want to, instead of starting on Cary Grant and other things, did you want to get started on a couple of jokes?
Sure.
All right, you got 1 minute, one joke.
Real quick. What did the corn say when he received a compliment?
What did the corn say when he received a compliment?
Aw, shucks.
Aw, shucks.
Aw, shucks.
Oh, well, okay. Very exciting. Thank you, Nassanelli. So what we're going to do is we're going to take us a short break. It's top of the hour, so it's going to be time for some news, some commercial breaks, and I'm going to miss you. Hope you miss me. Hang in there. Stay tuned, and we'll...